They plan on selling them at the 26th annual competition this season, where over 150 people are expected to be in attendance. There will be an adult-sized and a matching child-sized apron in each set. Each adult apron takes 2/3 of a yard, and each child takes 1/2 yard. One club member's family owns a fabric store and can give the club a great deal on 5 3/4 bolts of outstanding fabric. Each bolt contains 21 yards of fabric. The fabric normally costs $36 for 1/4 of a bolt, but the club is getting it at 1/2 off the price. You wish to know how many sets of aprons you can make and how much profit the club will earn if they make $10 profit per apron set they sell. Okay, so this last part's important for us. You wish to know how many sets of aprons, so we're looking at sets of aprons you can make, and then the second question is how much profit. So there are two questions in that sentence right there. How many aprons, and then how much profit will we get? And of course, we will do it in that order because we need to know how many aprons we can make, or sets of aprons, which will then tell us how much profit we will make. Of course, the profit will include the costs. So looks like they're going to make $10. Oh, well, maybe that's not going to make a difference because it says, well, maybe it will. So we'll keep this in mind, though. So I'm going to underline it. So they make $10 profit per apron set. So we're going to want that information too. So let's see. Let's find the information we don't need. We don't care about the 26th annual competition. That's not going to help us. Also, we don't care that there's 150 people expected to be in attendance. Now, if by chance we can make more than 150, or I guess in this case, 75 apron sets, then maybe that would be important, but I don't see that happening, and I could be wrong, though. And it says each adult apron takes 2/3 of a yard, so that's an adult apron, and then there's also a child's apron, which will take a 1/2 a yard. We do need that information. And I'll try to color code these, so the red will be for aprons. One club member's family owns so they're going to give us this fabric, 5 3/4 bolts of outstanding fabric. And then each of those bolts is itself 21 yards. See if I can underline that better. There we go. 21 yards of fabric. And so from those 5 3/4 bolts, we can figure out how many total yards of fabric that will be. The fabric normally costs $36, so that would be related to the price. $36 for a 4th bolt. We'll keep that in mind because in addition to that, we get 1/2 off. Now, we don't want to do all this at once. So we're going to do this one piece at a time, and there's enough going on here where you can do these kind of in your own way. So if you don't do it in the same order that I do it in, that's okay. You can still get the same correct answer. So let's go to the next part and see what they say. Answer the following questions on a separate piece of paper in your own words and using full sentences. Where are you trying to figure out in what information? But we kind of underlined that information, so that's not going to be too hard for us. Let's see if we can get this in here. So a couple things, right? Number one, we want to know how many apron sets we can make. They can make? Someone's making. Now that also includes, because what do we got? We got how many yards make a set. That'll be a good thing to figure out. And then what do we got? There's that 5 3/4 bolts. 5 3/4 bolts. Let's see. And, oh yeah, so then the next part is each bolt is 21 yards of fabric. Okay, so this would be our first, set of information that we need. The second set will be related to the cost. So based on how many aprons we can actually make, let's see, what do we got? $36 Oh yeah, so the overall question though is, how much profit can the club make? So there's our question. And then, yeah, so here's important information, right? We got $36 for 1/4 bolt. But in addition to that, we're getting, they're getting half off the price. So that'll be important information. And then down here, we'll say, well, we know that they will make $10 for each apron set. Okay, so that's in my words, and you're welcome to put that in your own words, or maybe you want to put it in my words because my words are the same as your words, but it doesn't matter. This is your basis will be the same. This is the information that we need, and this is the information that we do have. So let's see, using full sentences, is there any information that you feel you should know before you can answer the questions? Well, I guess we've kind of put some of that information down. We can come up here, and in that first set, we can say, look, we're getting, an adult is 2/3 yards, and then we'll have to add the children's apron, which takes 1/2 yards. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Number 2, devise a plan for figuring out the complete number of apron sets the club can make from the fabric and how much profit the club will make from the sale. Okay. Recall various strategies. Yeah, okay. So, of course, that information that we just put together is going to help us to figure out the plan. Well, I guess this is the plan. We'll figure out how many apron sets we can make by figuring out how many yards is in a set, so that's in that information, and then we can figure out how many sets we can make with that 5 3/4 bolts, which of course each bolt is 21 yards, and then after that we will figure out how much profit we can get. Well, maybe let me think about this, because the $36 for the 1/4 bolt, and then it's half price. Yeah, since it's telling us that they're going to make $10 for each apron set, it does not seem like the costs actually are going to be a part of this problem. So what that means is something good, maybe, I guess. We don't really need this information right here. $36 for the 1/4 bolt, and then the half price off, not going to affect us. Which, I don't know, seems like it would, but why is it not important? Because we already know how much we're going to make every apron set. That should include, I don't know, wording, right? That should include the cost for paying for the bolts of fabric. Are they selling them for $10 for a set, or are they making $10? Well, this says they make $10 per set, right? If we went back up here, it says they will make $10 per apron set.
Profit.
So is that profit?
Yeah.
$10 profit, and profit,
Is after their costs.
that's what I would think too, right? So I'm going to go with this. We're going to say that $36 for the 1/4 bolt and then the half off price actually are not going to help us out. So this is what I got. See if I can put it all in there. Which, now that we have this information, now we can actually do the plan, execute the plan, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. But let's go ahead and get started. So we'll give ourselves some space up here in the top right. Oh, you know what the heck, we'll do this one. And okay, what I'm going to do is actually number 3, which would be on the next page, but whatever, follow along. So, number 1, let's go ahead and split these up so that, number 1, we'll just do on the left here. Okay, Now, we'll look at each set, just to start out with. And each set takes the adult apron, which is 2/3 yards, and we would add the children's set, or apron rather, which is 1/2 yard. Okay, so of course we need to figure out how much this is going to be, and we need common denominators. So we're gonna make these denominators 6s, because, well, not because it's the lowest common denominator, it's just the easiest one to use. 6 is a multiple of 3 and 2, so 3 times 2 is a 6. In the numerator, 2 times 2 is 4. And for the next fraction, 2 times 3 would be 6. So in the numerator, 1 times 3 would be 3. So we have 3/6 plus 4/6. And now in sixths, we have 4 plus 3, which would end up being 7/6. Now you could change this back into a mixed number if you wanted to. I do not want to, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to be using this measurement here for further calculations, okay? And if you want to label it, that's fine, but you don't necessarily have to. I'm kind of, math nerd about this stuff, so I'm going to label it. So we're going to use this information, but first, let's see, we got 5 3/4 bolts. Each bolt takes 21 yards. So you could say, well, with that 7/6 yards for each set, then you could figure out how many sets you could do for each bolt, and then multiply that by 5 3/4. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to figure out how many yards total are in the 5 3/4 bolts. So let's proceed with that then. So we're looking for how many yards. I'll put this out there. Yards in the 5 3/4 bolts. Well, with that information, we would have, we know it's 21 yards for every bolt, and there's 5 3/4 bolts of fabric. So we are going to multiply these out. Of course, we'll eventually make this 21 over 1. First, let's go and use cycle method here on the 5 3/4, which is not going to change the fourths. And of course, it's not going to affect the 21. But we would then need to take 5 times 4, which is 20, and then add the 3 numerator, which ends up being 23. So that's going to be 23/4. And I don't see any simplification there with that multiplication. Maybe that makes it easier. I mean, there's a little bit of multiplication there. It's no problem. I'm going to start with the denominator, because 1 times 4 is a lot easier than 21 times 23. 1 times 4 is 4, but now I got to do 21 times 23. So, yeah, what the heck? Let's use some lattice method, because I like it. And if you don't like it, that's okay too. So, of course, lattice method, something like this one. I'll try to, do better this time, because I kind of set it up poorly last time. That one and that one. Okay. So what are we multiplying? We got 21 times 23, and I got to start all the way from the right. I'll do that. So this is 1 times 3 right there. Now, of course, that would just be 3 normally, so it would say 3, but since we have to have the 2 numbers there, we'll make that 0, 3. Now for the next one, we'll do 1 times 2, which is 0, 2. And then next, we'll do 2 times 3. I guess in the adding, we got to go from right to left. But 2 times 3 is 6. 0, 6. And then over here, we got 2 times 2, which is 4. So that's going to be 0, 4. Okay, now we add diagonally, which is why we should start from the right here. 3 is just, of course, 3. 2 plus 0 is 2. Plus 6 is 8. 0 plus 4 is 4. Plus 0 is 4. And then, of course, we got that 0 there. So we end up with 483/4. And yes, this cannot be simplified, but this is how many yards are in the 5 3/4 bolts. Now, from this, we can figure out how many sets of aprons that we can make from from that number of yards from the 5 3/4 bolts. So here's what I'm going to put. We now want to know how many apron sets are in the we'll just do 483/4 yards of fabric. Now I've kind of worded it this way, a little funky on purpose, because the way that I've worded it, how much of something is in something else is a division problem. So that's going to help us set up the problem. What kind of operation are we going to be using? This one's division. Okay, so what are we dividing? Well, what are we starting with? Well, we're going to start with this number of yards, which is 483/4 yards. And we're trying to figure out how many 7/6 yards are in that 483/4. So that's what we're dividing by. 483/4 is the dividend, and so the 7/6 is the divisor. So something like this. How many 7/6 now? And again, that's pretty much how this reads. How many 7/6 are in 483/4? We do not want to set this up with long division like we've talked about already. We want to use multiplication instead. So we are going to change this to multiplication with, keep, change, flip, reciprocals, whatever you want. But yeah, we're going to take that 483/4 and multiply this by the reciprocal now of 7/6, which is 6/7. Yeah, that can be simplified. Oh yeah, so that keep, change, flip, right? So you keep this one, change the operation, and then flip that second fraction. If it helps, keep, change, flip. And let's see, 483, let's see, what would we get? 63, I think that's divisible by 7. Yeah. So yeah, these are all going to be divisible by 7. I'm sorry, the 483 and 7 are divisible by 7. 4 and 6, though, we're going to divide those by 2. So I'll start there because, these are smaller numbers to work with. 6 divided by 2 would be 3. 4 divided by 2 would be 2. And yes, we now know that 483 divided by 7 is, 69, right? And then 7 divided by 7 would just be 1. So with this, now we are able to just do straight multiplication across through the numerators. 69 times 3. I'll start with the denominator, actually. 2 times 1 is 2. That's easier. Okay. Well, 69 times 3. Let's do this one. 69 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 2. 3 times 6 is 18, but add the 2 would make that 20. So we have 207 halves. This doesn't really look good for, no, by the way, this is number of apron sets, right? These are apron sets that we can make. So it'd be really weird if you went to someone, if it was a math nerd like me, they'd be like, hey, that's pretty cool. But if you went to someone normally and were like, we could make 207 half apron sets, most people would be like, what the crap, man? But, math nerds, we like that kind of stuff. So we're going to need to use long division here. And as usual, long division is not going to change the denominator and or the label. Apron sets, kind of fit that in there. Okay, so I got to work over here because I ran out of space. Well, maybe I ran out of a lot of space. But we are going to do some long division. Sorry, that's kind of small. 207 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 2 once. That uses the 200s up. We will drop the 0. 2 goes into 0, 0 times. So we'll drop now the 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times. Not exactly, of course. 2 times 3 is 6. And when we subtract this, we get a remainder of 1. So for our mixed number, we now have 103 and 1/2 apron sets. So, going back, how many sets of aprons can we make? Well, 103 and 1/2 is good. Like, this is exact, and math is good when it's exact, because it should be exact. But the truth is, that we really need to just say how many complete apron sets we can make, which of course we can't make a half apron set. I mean, which half do you make? Do you make the children's apron, or do you make the adult apron? Well, of course, the adult one is too big. You wouldn't be able to do that with that half. So you could say children's. But yes, the answer is 103. So let's put that in there. Oh, geez. Well, kind of ran out of space there, didn't I? I'll write it here. Here we go. So overall, we'll say 103 apron sets. Boom. Well, for number 2, of course, we said we don't really care about how much they're paying for the bolts. We already know that they're going to make $10 profit on each set. So we're just going to take, maybe I should have given myself more space there. All we're going to do is we're going to say, look, we know that they can make 103 apron sets, and they're selling these for $10 each, so we're going to take that $10 and just multiply these. Also, hope the, what? Yeah, it's saying you got how much profit. Well, they're saying you're making $10 profit per apron set.
Yeah, it's already stated.
And so,
You're right.
so to me, I guess, now that,
And
see the
question
usefulness
is-
of rereading the
Yeah.
information there? Because I didn't reread that before or catch it before. I'm kind of with you guys. I would have thought, hey, it is profit, right? We're saying you make $10 profit at each apron set. I would have thought maybe you'd find the profit. Originally, I would have said you'd find the profit and then you would figure in your costs and subtract those out of your profit so that you could see how much total profit there is. But somehow they've already given us that, right? It's like, what is it, cost and income, I think? So apparently they've already done the cost and income. So again, this information of $36 for a quarter bolt and then half off the price, not really relevant to us.
Okay.
Because, and I guess, again, now that I've reread it again, how much profit? Well, it's $10 profit, which means this is actually the only calculation that we need. Which, to me, well, being a math nerd, I would rather do more, but most people are like, well, that'll be good because it's complete. So going back to the multiplication on this one, hopefully you remember by multiplying by base 10s, all you're going to do is take the original number you're multiplying by 10 and then tack on the number of zeros with the base 10. In this case, it's 1 0 with the 10, and then that's how much dollars of profit they will make. So I kind of skipped that long multiplication. Hopefully that's okay. And again, I'll be a little bit specific on this one just because, maybe I did that wrong. I don't know, but it looks good to me. So it looks like they will make $1,030 in profit. That's all they asked. They didn't say anything else. Just find out how much profit there is. Well, like I said, we already did. That's number 3 right there, so I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff. You're welcome to read that if you'd like to. I'm not going to. But now what you will want to do is reflect by answering 4A, B, and C.